All right, this next video is aimed to help you simplify some of the things that go on with exponential expressions. In this case, it might be rewriting some terms with exponents in them. I'm going to start by putting the problem 5 to the second power on the board here and just reminding ourselves that when we do that, that this is really asking us to take 5 and multiply it by 5. Whatever this base is, we need 2 of this base, and in this case it's 5. 5 times 5, and probably could come up with an answer of 25 fairly quickly on that one. But I remind you of that because we can change that and make that 3/5 to the second power. And sometimes when you throw a fraction, all of a sudden it seems a lot more difficult. But if we remember what the idea behind squaring or the second power is, that we simply need 2 of these that have to be multiplied. And then it comes down to, do I remember what the rules are in terms of multiplying fractions? And hopefully we do that part of it, but we're simply going to take 3/5 times 3/5. The rules say to multiply the tops. 3 times 3 is 9, 5 times 5 is 25, and there I have an answer of 9/25. So that's starting out with a couple of basic situations. Now let's progress and let's throw some x's in there. If I give you something like 3xy to the 4th, and I ask you, what does that really mean? Now that might be the simplest form of our answer, but what is that in terms of the numbers and letters that are in there that are actually being multiplied? Well, we need to remind ourselves that the 4 is only on the y. So if that's the case, we have 3 times x times, we have 4 y's that should be multiplied. Oops. I'll slide that out of there. So it looks something like that. Now I'm not suggesting that this is simpler, but I'm hopefully reminding you that in this case the 4 is only on the y, so it would be 3 times x times y times y times y times y. I'm going to change this slightly, and I'm going to keep the same numbers and letters, and I'm going to put 3xy in parentheses to the 4th power, and I do that because I would ask you, what does that now represent? And again, that might be a simple form of our answer, but it tells us that we should have 4 of whatever is in parentheses multiplied. So in this case, we're going to take 3xy times 3xy times 3xy times 3xy, and that's what that actually is representing with the 4th power on those parentheses. Now we could stretch that out with a little bit of algebra and probably combine some things. If you notice 3xy, when you have something like this, if there's nothing in between, we can assume that there's multiplication. This problem is full of multiplication, and if you have all multiplication, you can multiply the things that you know to multiply. As an example, you can take 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 3 to the 4th power, or 81, if I multiply 4 3's together. I then also have x times x times x times x. If I take these 4 x's that are here, like bases, I add the exponents, and remember, even though there's not an exponent shown, it's assumed to be a 1. That's going to be x to the 4th power if I add those. And similarly, I have y times y times y times y. I should also have that. So 3xy in parentheses raised to the 4th power is the same as 3xy times 3xy times 3xy times 3xy, which could simplify to 81 x to the 4th, y to the 4th in this case. The last problem I want to look at is 5x to the 3rd squared. And if I had something like this, reminding myself again, what does it mean to square something? Well, I'm squaring the entire set of parentheses. So I hope you take 5x to the 3rd and multiply it by 5x to the 3rd. And that's simple. That certainly might be the answer you're looking for. If the teacher wants you to simplify it, it might require a little bit more algebra to be applied here. But again, we have 5 times x to the 3rd and 5 times x to the 3rd. I could multiply the 2 5's, and then I could take x to the 3rd and multiply that by x to the 3rd, and remembering that like bases means that I add exponents, I would have x to the 3 plus 3, or x to the 6th power. And again, this might be the simplest version of the answer, but trying to remind you that 5x to the 3rd in parentheses squared means that I'm going to take 5x to the 3rd times 5x to the 3rd. Hopefully that helps you out with a little bit there with exponents. Again, as always, ask a teacher if you need a little bit more help.